5 typical errors that Vietnamese people make with the z and the zh sounds when speaking English. First, people speaking with a southern accent say a s sound when they should say a z sound because they cannot vibrate their throats strong enough. So they will say hiss instead of his and su instead of zu. Second problem is that some people say the z sound when they should say the zh sound, especially when the zh is followed by the schwa, the sound, that needs to be said with the lips and the tongue relaxed. So they will say television instead of television, or usually instead of usually, while others will say the zh sound when they should say a z sound, especially when the z is followed by a vowel that needs to be said with the lips rounded, like o or u. So they will say ju instead of zu, and resign instead of resign. Third problem is that many people do not realize that the z and the zh sounds are actually two different sounds in English, and they will pronounce a sound that is similar to the mix of these sounds, like zzz. This is not an English sound. The fourth problem is that most Vietnamese people cannot change between the s, the z, and the sh sounds fast enough when they have to say more of these sounds in a word or a sentence. So they will say, "This is my shirt," or "This is my shirt," instead of "This is my shirt." Finally, very often people simply forget to say the z and the zh sounds at the end of words and before consonants. So they will say rye instead of rise, cloud instead of closed, massage instead of massage, and my favorite, excuse me instead of excuse me. This is a very serious problem and makes Vietnamese English almost impossible to understand for people who are not familiar with it. In this video, we will learn how to say the z and the zh sounds well, and how to distinguish them from the s and the sh sounds. We will examine how we typically spell words with the z and the zh sounds. We will practice saying words and sentences with these sounds, and we will test your newly acquired skills. So let's correct these mistakes and start speaking accurate English. Are you with me? Let's go!